Watching this show.
Heidi, I love you, but I think you should leave the intros to me.
Good idea.
Good morning, fans, newcomers, family being forced to watch, and welcome to the second episode of Summer in a Pandemic, a student magazine show. Today, we will be focusing more on how-to related segments.
Like a guide? We're doing guides now. What even is the show? Like, what are we exactly talking about?
Well, we've got information from activities ranging from singing to college essays to film.
That sounds neato. So, what's up first?
Well, first, we've got Anaya with her Highway to Help.
Huh?
It's like her segment from last show, but this time she's a rock star.
What even is the show? Over to you, Anaya.
1, 2, 3, go! Hello, Montgomery County, and are you ready to rock? Hello, Montgomery County, and anybody else who's watching. Are you ready to rock?
You mean learn?
Learn, rock, whatever. Welcome to Help. And today I will be letting you guys in on the raddest happenings of our county. Let's get into it. First and most importantly, let's talk music. There's so many online concerts happening right now, and you are not attending because you're not in the know. But luckily, your favorite rock star, is here to fill you in. There are a ton of free concerts happening, ranging in all sorts of music. They have my favorite genre, rock music, and they have my not so favorite genre, pop music. How boring and predictable pop music is. Some links are shown on screen to all the possible concerts, but you can just always Google your own. Just find your favorite artist. Let's get into the next one. Next, we have a lineup of some blazing online festivals and conventions that you should check out. They have topics such as books and film and anime. Some of the possible events are listed above. Well, looks like it's about it. Now remember, kids, just because we're in quarantine does not mean we can have a pretty sick time. Did you get it? Because you know what? We're done. Remember to stay healthy and rock on. This is not as cool in the light. It's not as cool.
So, Sadisha, when exactly are the guides showing up?
Funny you ask, because next we have a how-to game playthrough with one of our new anchors, Cruz.
New anchors? Sadisha, how come you never tell me anything?
Well, that's because you never ask. Now, over to Cruz.
Wait.
So it's quarantine. What do? You get bored, so you buy a Switch. What else do? You buy a Pro Controller, cause you know that these Joy-Cons won't last you very long. And you decide to pick up Smash alongside all this. So then you boot up Smash and then you realize you don't know how to play Smash. So strap on your Joy-Cons, cause this is the top 3 simplest characters to use in Smash. Number 1. Yes, we are starting off with everyone's favorite plumber, Mario. Mario was made to be a simple character to pick up and play with, and he has some good tricks up his sleeve too. His forward air can spike, and his cape can reflect projectile attacks. It also turns around your opponents. Anyways, that's enough of Mario. On to the next spot on this list. Number 2. That's right, Lucina is at the number 2 spot. Now there's a reason why I picked Lucina over Marth. That's simply because Lucina is more consistent than Marth. Some pretty neat things that she can do is that she can break shield with her neutral special, and she can counter opponents' attacks with her down special. Then again, almost all the sword units in this game can counter. Enough about Lucina, on to the next spot. Number 3. The man, the legend himself, Cloud. Cloud is a character where if it works, it works. And you know, he also has something that's unique to him, just like almost every other character in the game. And that's Limit. When his limit bar is fully charged, he gains stronger versions of his special attack. Have I mentioned that his forward air has a spike hitbox? Now, that's all the time I got. Back to you guys.
Okay, that was pretty cool, but we're not done here. New anchors? Who else do we even have?
We'll just have to wait and see. But for now, we have Singing 101 with not only Chelsea, but Adrian as well.
2 anchors? What? Okay, actually, that sounds pretty cute. I can't wait to watch it. Over to you, Chelsea and Adrian. Please teach me to sing. I need it.
Thanks, Heidi and Sudesia. Hi, and welcome to the first part in the series of vocal training with Chelsea and Adrian.
Anyone can sing. Your unique voice can be called a gift, but singing is an art which anyone can learn. Know that it is going to take some time and effort, so no rush and enjoy the process.
There are a lot of steps you need to remember when learning singing, but the most important ones are your breath control, your posture, and singing in tune. Before we continue to the steps, I just want to remind you that we are not professional vocal coaches, and these are just some tips based on our experience in learning music. Let's dive in.
As for today's practice, let's focus on breathing. Breathing is the single most important element in singing, as it helps control the quality of sound, the volume, and it also affects partially the control of pitch and tone of your voice.
One breathing exercise you should do is timed breathing. Once you start with your breath, you're going to blow out on a tiny little S sound and time it for 10 seconds and progress upward from then.
The idea is that each time you do this, you are able to hold your breath a little bit longer. A little tip is to ensure you're not blowing out too much air at once. For example, normally exhaling. Try focusing on controlling the amount of air you breathe out. And that's all, folks. See you on the next show.
Away, and I'm gonna ride it. Wait, we're back. Next we have
Next, we have how to write a college essay, The Basics, with Mr. Costa Fox, an English teacher from Northwood High School.
Yes, that's it. Thanks, Stacia.
No problem. Now, be quiet. I actually want to hear this one.
Don't have to tell me twice. I need so much help on my college apps. Over to you, Mr. Costa Fox.
Hey everyone, my name is Mr. Fox. I was going to give you some tips that I tell my students when they write college application essays. The first thing is a rule, and that is do not write an autobiography in 500 to 600 words. This is impossible, and also it's not that interesting. So really what you want to do is focus on a few key moments or events that make you the kind of person you are. Another rule I like to tell students is you want to own your topic. If you look on the internet, you're going to find a lot of examples of some pretty far-fetched ideas. Not everyone can write those ideas. You don't want to seem like you're trying to force it. So my favorite thing to tell students to write about is to talk about a photograph that means a lot to you. And then tell us the story of what is the significance of that photograph. Similarly, writing about a meal or a type of food, perhaps you bake something with your grandmother. That too is going to give you a lot of sensory details that you'll be able to write about. So ironically, focusing on the small events, I think is going to help you tell a kind of a bigger story. Another idea, and that I got actually an admissions counselor on the internet, on Reddit actually, is this idea of half ideas. And I think this is really cool. So what you would do is you make a huge list of everything you can about yourself. If I pick 2 of those things, I like to draw birds and I have issues with anxiety. How could I make those 2 things relate? Like, how could I tell that story? And maybe I could kind of carve something together that is the act of drawing on a daily basis functions as a way of calming my nerves. And that's how you're going to get some kind of like a quirky essay. In regards to writing your essay, I would encourage you to start with what's called an in medias res beginning. That is Latin, I think, for just to start in the middle of the action. And then go back and fill in all the details. Lastly, and I think most importantly, your thesis statement. You are making an argument, but it's implied. But by the end, it should definitely kind of be clear to the reader. The goal is to tell us, to get a message across to the reader without directly stating what that message is. One trick I would encourage you, maybe kind of come up with the lesson in advance and write it down in 1 or 2 sentences. Include it in your story at the end, but try to not say anything else about it other than those 1 or 2 sentences. If you don't tell the reader, but rather show the reader what the message is, it's going to make your story really, your essay really come alive in a way that it couldn't come alive otherwise. So, okay, I hope this helps. Good luck. You got this.
Oh? Why is gone? Oh, that's because up next, we have another episode of Movies/TV Recs and Reviews with Heidi. But don't worry, we didn't forget our episode's theme. There is a twist. Now, over to you, Heidi.
Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Movie, TV, Recs, and Reviews. However, this won't be Recs and Reviews. To stick with this week's focus, today I will be giving you a quick guide to filmmaking and maybe some movie recs if you're lucky. Let's start with the basics. There are 3 types of shots.
Long shot, medium shot, and close-up. Long shots tend to be of the full body, medium shots waist up, and close-ups shoulder up.
Now you're probably thinking, I've seen way more than just these 3 shots in movies. And you're correct. These shots are just simply jumping off points to get more interesting shots.
Extreme close-ups, 2 shots, wide shots, which are basically long shots, just they're mainly used as establishing shots and capture from even further away.
Another way to vary up your shots is composition. In film, photography, and art, we use this concept called the rule of thirds, where we divide up our screen into sections.
To get an aesthetically pleasing shot, you tend to not want to put things or people in the middle of the shot. You want to put your focus on one of these 2 lines. Now, I'm not saying you can never put your focus in the middle. You just have to do it with purpose. If someone is going to be in the middle of a shot, it must be for a reason, either to show power or lack of.
Speaking of displaying power dynamics, another good technique is angling your shots.
Whether it be bird's eye view to show your subject as weak and fearful, to a worm's eye view depicting your subject as large and powerful.
Now there are 2 things to be aware of: your headroom and your lead room.
This is too little headroom. We do not want to cut off people's heads unless for an extreme close-up shot or specific stylistic reasons. This is too much headroom.
Notice how it just looks weird? There are cases where people will have too much headroom, but that is usually in wider shots and again with purpose. Going back to rule of thirds, you want your subject's eyes to be on the top line to get proper headroom. Now for lead room. That is the room on the side of your shot. This is too much lead room. Notice how the person is getting cut off? And this is too little lead room. While the person may look correct rule of thirds wise, you may notice they're facing to the right, but all the room is on the left. Your lead room must be where your subject is focusing. Once you've got done the basics, you can start playing around more with camera placement, framing, and hey, you may even end up breaking a couple of these rules. This is really just for guidance. I hope it was helpful. I'm running out of time for movie recs, but here are a couple. Back to the Future, Lapland Odyssey, Love on Delivery, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Uncut Gems.
Wait, Uncut Gems? I love Uncut Gems. I mean, the way the film uses those deeply saturated visuals and that piercing score and then builds both into that incredibly hectic editing just makes such a palpable, anxiety-inducing atmosphere. I mean, that is nothing short of just brilliant filmmaking. Hi, I'm Dylan Rose, and this is How to Be a Pretentious Film Critic. Basically, as a pretentious film critic, you can't just ask yourself whether or not a movie was good or bad. In that world, we'd all be pretentious film critics. No. What you gotta do is turn that analysis part of your brain on, and then look at every single individual piece of a film and see how those pieces are working together. At that point, you can truly understand whether the film is really a piece of art or not. You can't just look at a shot and go, oh, that was pretty, or that was ugly. No, you gotta think with the specific reason and meaning that a filmmaker had for using the shot and the style in which they did it. If a camera is moving, why? If the shot is slanted, why? If the blocking is weird, or the composition is interesting, why? What is the filmmaker's point to doing this? In this way, you can understand whether or not the filmmaker had any intent in it, and if that intent deserves any sort of artistic merit. But looking at the quality of shot is just one of many, many, many things that a pretentious film critic will look into when watching a film. You know, it really is every little detail. Quality and intent is everything. So next to the shot, you gotta look at the costumes, the perspectives, the colors, the lighting, the editing, so on and so on and so on. It's all very, very important. Even simpler things like the film's pace is important, you know, and how that pace reflects the overall story being told. One of the biggest things that a pretentious film critic loves to look into is a film's meaning. They really do eat that up, you know. What is the point of the film and how well does that film comment on and dive into that point? But let me go on to say that a film doesn't need to have meaning to be a great work of art. But if a film does happen to have meaning behind it, it's imperative that you, as a pretentious film critic, find that point and are able to comment on it.
Now we're going to look at a shot from everybody's favorite movie in 2019, Parasite.
말씀드렸죠? 네네. 다송이한테 무슨 일이 있었나요, 1학년 때?
This shot. Using our powers as a pretentious film critic, we can now see that director Bong Joon-ho uses a 180-degree shift in his main camera move in order to establish a difference in feeling and tone for the mother character, whose acting is intentionally exaggerated to sort of show the nature of her feelings as well as her sort of fake personality. While the scene also has a very warm color palette because we're supposed to feel good and comfortable in the scene because our character, the one we're rooting for, is getting her way. Oh, and please check out my stuff with the YouTube.
Well, it looks like that's all we have today for that segment. These gosh darn you anchors. Anyway, thankfully next we have a familiar face. Sidesha will be giving us a guide on her interview process. Over to you, Sidesha.
Hey guys, since this week is more tutorial style, I thought I'd give you a guide on my interview process. To successfully conduct an interview, I go about in 4 main steps. Step 1 is pretty obvious. I need to figure out who I'm going to interview. To decide this, I typically think about the show's topic and I try to find someone to fit into that. Or I try to find someone who can give insight on current events that are related. The second step on conducting an interview, after you find the person you're going to interview, is to write down the questions. Now, you can't just write down any old questions. You have to do a little bit of research. You have to do a little bit of research on the person you're interviewing to find questions that they can answer and that are also relevant to your topic. The third step after writing the questions out for the interview would be to contact the interviewee through email for confirmation. After confirming the interview, we'd have to set up a time and a place, which in this case would have to be a Zoom. Last and most important step is the actual interview. It may seem pretty simple, but there are some tips you should follow. First is to create a friendly environment so your interviewee will feel more comfortable speaking. Next is to not move directly on to the next question, but to use what the interviewer said previously to show them that you were paying attention. Another helpful tip is arson. Commit tax fraud and bake cookies. I hope this helps for when you want to conduct an interview.
I'm never gonna get used to that.
Get used to what?
Never mind.
Well, that's all we have for you all today. Anything you want to add, Heidi?
Yes, I am tired of this. I deserve better. I want a ferret in my room. I want 1,029 blue M&Ms. I want a separate house for my cat because he deserves better than this too.
Whatever you say, Heidi. This was Summer in a Pandemic.
Wait. A student magazine show.
Dilbo, my YouTube channel name is Dilbo. It's oh, come on, no, oh, man. Yeah, this is the, Heidi, come on, this is the worst.